Welcome, friends. OG Murphy here with you. We're going to run some Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's a homebrew setting. It's a homebrew rule set. It's not really Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but it's close. It's close. We are playing in the Great Below. It is basically the Underdark in traditional settings, and the players have been having fun going through it, if we're being honest. So I'm not going to spend too long here. It is this is an adult stream. There's language and adult themes, and nobody's being politically correct. No offense is ever intended. Hopefully none is taken. This is kind of a backyard game. So without further ado, let's play some fucking Pathfinder, D&D. Same shit. Tabletop RPGs, all the same. And I'm live. What's up, guys? Chris, I heard your voice, and I miss hearing your voice. I think I'm not going to roll today. I think I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you to start us off with thoughts and feelings. You guys are like in the Blackrock plane. You've had this like interaction with the like dark centaurs. You guys have been like making your way across the Underdark towards the Kobold City for the first time in Rowan's multiple days down here. He's like more or less surrounded by animals. How's he doing? How's he feeling?
He's feeling good. Still a little scared and claustrophobic because he hasn't been outside. But I mean, he's got to ride the beetles. He's seeing these weird centaur guys. He's kind of getting happy that maybe he will get to either experience or see a lot more of the wildlife that could be down in this area. So he's claustrophobic but hopeful.
I do love that for him. I will allow you. Please pick your victim as usual.
Aaron.
Tell us about Galfast.
Yeah, so originally Galfast was very hopeful to be down here. He was thinking of the different, underground trade routes he'd be able to establish. He thought this would be he had heard stories about the deep below, as a kid, like fairy tales, and he always wanted to travel here. He was very optimistic. And then when he made it down here, he realized that some of those fairy tales were real, and it's not a good place to be. And we had some bad things happen to us with the teleporter and giant worms, which was a big letdown. It wasn't quite the, infinite untapped potential that he had thought it would be, which was a big realization. But now that they're closer to a city, and, some of his party members had befriended censures, he's a little more optimistic because a city is where he and his badger feel comfortable. So it could be worse.
It could always be worse, and that's it's not a bad outlook to have. Who's your victim? Who's next?
I'll do a Tesk.
A Tesk. Tyler.
Yeah.
How's your character feeling?
He is starting to recover from the trauma that was the whole portal situation. He's not very excited to go into a city of kobolds because he remembers the last time we fought him, and he didn't feel particularly useful, although he's gained a couple skills since then. So it's, he's grown a little bit, but he's still not excited to go to a city of them. He's not quite sure how any sort of, attempt at impersonation is going to go, but he is optimistic that the group has a path forward. Hopefully once we get closer and we can see what's going on, we can have more information, we can come up with an idea that might not get us all killed.
You're all alive now, so there's that.
That's true currently.
Love that for you. Who's your victim, bud?
Anthony.
By the way, Anthony, I love your shirt.
Oh, thanks. I got it a long time ago, and I was too fat to wear it, and only recently have I tried it on recently, and I was like, oh wow, it's not absolutely skin tight anymore. So
There you go.
Roomy.
I know, right? Anyways, so yeah, I guess Simone is happy that we're making some progress finally, or
Oh,
at least
yeah.
it feels like progress.
Yeah.
Lately it feels like we've been bashing our head into the wall and only have been, you know, cutting our feet off essentially at the same time. And now it feels like we're essentially, it feels like we're headed in the right direction, meaning that, there's been multiple confirmations from multiple sources that, yeah, the kobolds do have a way to the surface. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a difficult way, but we've confirmed that there's a way to the surface through the city, right? So, after multiple sources of confirmation, he is ready to see the daylight. He's ready to see his boats. He's ready to see, all this stuff. I mean, yeah, we have we're looking for the main city, but it's a lot easier to look for that, ancient lost city, on the surface than it is down here. So.
Yeah. Love that. Love that for him as well. It sounds like, generally speaking, we've kind of like shifted from, borderline despair into, we'll call it like cautiously optimistic territory. So that's progress party wide. In addition to you guys, there's Reed, played by Joe, and then Kythar, who tonight will also be played by Joe, and then Arthur, who I think Chris still has, if I remember correctly. And so, you guys have these kind of like tag-along characters right now, some of which will be, manned later, some won't. But yeah, I mean, you guys are nail on the head here. You guys have talked a lot about like what you've been through and like knowing where you're going, which is phenomenal. For this like totally unfamiliar, literally like plunge into the dark that you guys took to get to this point, to like have an idea of where you're going rather than just kind of like blindly stumbling around. But to the point of some of your other party members, you guys don't have a really solid idea of what like awaits for you there. Like, that there's a Kobold City, and you have confirmed that they do have a way out that is part of some kind of like religious pilgrimage process. And that's like what you guys know about where you're going right now. And so, I am also very excited to continue here as we progress through. Where we left you guys was on Beetleback, the 7 of you on 5 different beetles, with the elves kind of like doubled up with heavier folks. Riding over the Blackrock plain, which is adjacent to this like, huge lake that you guys have passed. You've had these like interactions with these like dark goat centaur things who like definitely have their own fucking thing going on, but they were like, are you taking those fuckers out of our planes? And Galfast was, no sir, we are not. And so it's like they've got some weird deal going on, but right now, you guys are just a couple of hours from, you're like halfway through the plane, right? And you've passed this choke point. There were these like stalagmite monsters which started trying to like rip you guys off your beetles and ended up, I think, eating one of the beetles. But you guys have like made it past that. You're going to pass a couple of more of these, like you're operating off this map that Galfast took out of this drow fortress, days ago, that has all these like weird markings and symbols on it. You're gonna have to navigate past a couple more of those. But from your characters' perspectives, you're, like you're saying, on Easy Street. You're riding on the back of these. Your legs, the insides of your thighs, your ankles are probably like sore from being like pinched up on the back of these like smooth-shelled beetles. your all of your fingers you've been like white knuckling these fucking huge horns in order to like kind of like jerk them around and like keep them on track, because though you initially got to ride them because you could speak with them, they are at their core like animals that you're having to guide through this process here. And everybody's, some more gracefully than others, making your way through this like savanna like space, but instead of solid ground, there is this like this like gray stone with like shards of obsidian in it. And to your guys' left, there's this cliff which leads to the high road, which you guys like opted not to take. And to your right is this huge pinnacle. Little pun for you there. Is this huge pinnacle that you guys know has like a waterfall coming out of it on the other side, which leads into this lake. But then it's kind of like the opposite, right? You've got a cliff to your left, and to your right, you've got a few miles of whatever, but then it drops off and is another cliff like leading down a level. So you guys are kind of like you've gotten through this bottleneck. You're in the back half of the plain. These beetles gliding through this space, and all this terrain, the like fungal tumbleweeds making their way around, and occasionally you guys will see some creature you've never seen before come out of nowhere and maul another creature you've never seen before, and just start like ripping it to shreds. Or there'll be like another herd of these beetles like trampsing through, going the other way. But you guys are more or less like in the middle of a travel day, and have just a couple of hours left on Beetleback until you're at the edge of that plain, where you'll have to make a decision whether or not you want to continue with these beetles. And so it is here on Beetleback that I'd like to pick up with you guys as you're cowpoking your way through the Blackrock plain, having left some mighty stalagmite beasts dead in your, well, not dead, but behind in your wake. How do we find the party? What are you guys doing? What like conversation is happening right now? How do we find you guys?
My ass hurts. Because they're beetles, right?
Yeah, they're like dung beetles, but scaled up to the size of a cow.
I'd be like, at least you got an ass, puto. I'm just like all bone and flesh here, fool.
So you need to eat.
It doesn't matter. It's a curse of my condition, puto. I'm telling you.
You have a condition?
Those tall socks Simone has are just like filthy on the inside of them, where they've been like making contact with this beetle.
And then I'm like casting pre-visitation or whatever. But like every 10 minutes, it's just back to complete filth.
I'm gonna say, you've had that smell this whole time. You need to use it on Kythar. Guy stinks. These are dung beetles, but that guy stinks.
Hey, he's the only reason why they give us a ride, fool. Apparently, it's primo shit.
We had to make an agreement. We got to leave him with it.
We got to fatten him up like one of those goose.
Take him to market.
Someone get a funnel. And I'm gonna be like, so like, I guess we're gonna be heading on the plains, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a cliff on the left, and then a drop off, a cliff up on the left, and a drop off cliff down on the right.
Okay.
As
you like, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, as we're getting kind of just going, right? I'm gonna be like, hey, fools! I've been like thinking about what we do when we get to this fucking city, fool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my thought, fool, is that this Galfest, this guy right here.
What?
Yeah. You're kind of sneaky and small, right?
No, I said I'm a smuggler.
So Galfast can sneak into the city. Or at least like this puto, I'm gonna thrust my thumb over at Atesk, can make that puto, and I'm gonna thrust my other thumb over at Galfast invisible. Then that puto can sneak around and see if there's a way to get in that's not like the fucking front gate. And also, if we can get some information on what's going on in the city, like the four-legged puto back there, and I'm gonna thrust my thumb behind me, said that there's this big-ass elemental rock thing that goes out to the lake every few days or something like that, and we need to know what that puto's doing.
I mean, I can only make him invisible for 10 minutes. I don't know if that's long enough to get in and out. You know, I don't know how fast he is.
Yeah, that should be enough. I can also make myself invisible.
Oh, so we don't even need you. And I'm looking at A-Test.
Yeah,
Well, hey, wait. I can make him faster.
What?
I give you tailwind.
okay. While I'm
you know,
invisible?
Yeah, a little gust behind you. It'll make you walk about 10 steps faster.
See, that's why we keep a wizard around.
So, you know, I almost said it.
I like. There's no way I'll ever go through the tape, but I almost want to put a supercut together of every time a test gets called a wizard. You know what I mean? Like,
He has this ignorant party that doesn't know the difference.
I'm a sorcerer, goddammit.
And no care to know. Like,
all right.
Nobody's even bothered.
I'm all, and I'm gonna look back at the rest of the party and be like, I mean, like, unless someone's as sneaky as this puto, is there anybody else that's got any ideas? Or wants to go with him?
Anybody at
A
all?
little sneaky.
Oh,
I could be pretty sneaky.
okay. Rowan, tell me.
Aaron, Teska's gonna roll into stealth and like run
On top of the beetle?
Where did he
Are
go?
we on the beetle? God damn it!
There's no rider.
He's like right behind.
no,
me.
he's actually
yeah.
riding with somebody. I don't remember who, but a Tesk is riding with somebody because you guys are down a beetle.
I'm riding with Galfast.
You just like duck down behind Galfast. You're like, you can't even see me right now.
He does the Wild Wild West thing where he like slides onto the side of the horse or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. That's too advanced, I feel like.
That's a
pretty
20.
I am trained in stealth.
Okay.
Plus 16.
Yeah, I'm also trained in stealth.
These are all good. Yeah, I think that's all we got.
Oh, all right, Rowan.
Ooh.
What is all that stain?
So there's a little heat in here
What
right
did I
now.
do?
He's been nothing but sweet and
Cordial.
thankful.
I'm about to say he's just been like in a state of general wonderment the entire time he's been with you guys.
Like even when we were down in the muck, he was the only person that was actually semi.
It makes you wonder, you know. It makes a sorcerer wonder.
Yeah.
Ooh, being
what does he know?
suspicious. That's a good. I like that. I actually really like that.
Don't you have a spell book to read or something, Puto?
Well, I've always got a spell book to read.
Ha! Wizards would have a spell book to read, Puto.
I told you.
Yeah, I knew
Oh,
it. I knew it.
You know, as an academic, you know, you're always studying to improve yourself.
Well, why don't you improve your attitude? Oh, yeah, got him. And we'll be like, okay, and then we'll be like, all right, back to a serious conversation.
So anyway, once we get there,
yeah,
so
once
we'll
we get-
sneak in.
Yeah, and you kind of scout it out and figure out what's the
Yeah.
general what do they say vibe of the city, fool.
And if okay, so I'm sneaking into the kobold city. If the kobolds, I mean, I'll look pretty out of place, right? I can't really disguise myself to look like a kobold. I'm assuming. I mean, do we know anything about them? Can I just say I'm a traitor, or what's my story?
I don't feel like the kobolds will even fucking care about that. I'm saying, just don't get caught.
It doesn't matter what you are if they don't see you.
And plus, I don't know. I don't have long enough string and enough cups, but we need a way to communicate with each other while you're inside there too. I'm gonna look at. I'm like, do you got anything in your wizard book there that can fucking tell us or can communicate with him long
He's a
distances?
mage. He's a mage.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't have any sort of long distance communication outside of message. But then, he can just sit on that.
He can sit on that.
Yeah, right. He can just not reply until he's ready.
You'd cast me a message and then I would reply at some point.
Yeah, but that would be
Yeah.
one. It'd be a one and done. In theory, even if your generous DM allowed it to work once you broke sight, which I think I would.
It'd be like, help! I'm dying.
What's for dinner?
I know, right? Oh. I think it's in the room. Okay. Sorry.
A little off subject. I do think it's funny when I open up the party, everyone has special skills and senses, and Reed it says no special senses. He has nothing. It's just blank. Everybody has low light,
He's
sin.
just a guy.
Oh man. Okay, that was off subject. Okay, so we're gonna get there.
Okay, I'll be
My
right back,
plan
one
is to
second.
not get caught. Do we
Yeah.
know anything else about fucking gremlins, whatever the hell they're called, kobolds, that
Kobolds.
would help me, and whoever else is sneaking in? Because I don't know that Galfast has really dealt with kobolds before.
Yeah, I mean that's a call for you a little bit. If you want to kind of like leave it up to chance, I'm happy to throw a knowledge
Oh,
roll
God.
out there.
Don't
Uh,
put me in that situation.
Yeah, I'm happy to put a knowledge roll out there. I will say that Atesk and Simone are like original characters and Arthur, I think, are original characters to the story. I know Arthur came in later. I can't remember if he came in after the kobolds or not. But the two of them have been through it all and have had direct interactions with some kobolds within the campaign. So, I know that a couple of your party members have had some interactions, but that was literally years ago worth of playtime, right? And so, you guys could put a search up, just kind of out of kindness for you guys. I will give you what people in the world of Valmina would think of kobolds, right? In general, they're kind of like goblins are generally seen as troublemakers. In the few places, in the few metropolis cities where you can find creatures of any race, creed, and color, even there, kobolds and goblins are seen with a little bit of suspicion, right? They tend to be fanatical. Is the big reputation that they have. But you guys probably would have heard different things about them throughout your lives. Some of you probably would have heard that they could breathe fire. Some of you probably would have heard that they're capable of flight. Some of you guys probably would have heard that they're particularly crafty. You had an interaction just a couple days ago with a pair of them who you set free, that Simone tricked into thinking Wilb was their god, and you guys sent them packing, and they just you know what I mean. It's so you guys have had a couple of interactions with kobolds where you might have an idea about what the individual kobold could be like, but as far as society goes, I don't think any of you guys have had enough direct contact with the society to give you stuff for free. But if anybody wants to pitch me why they might know about kobold society, I'm happy to give you a roll.
Oh, Simone would not know. From what I guesstimate, from what I've seen, they are fanatical. Whenever we help them and release them, he was like, "Hey, no matter what, I'm still gonna listen to my master, and even though you help me, you know what I mean? I don't really
Right.
care."
Right.
So for me, it totally hits the nail on the head for fanatical, and the fact that it seems like there's a few smart, coherent ones, and the rest of them are pretty stupid and followers. So
how would Simone extrapolate that if he had to guess what Cobalt society was like based on that information? Like what's Cobalt's best or what's Simone's best guess about that?
like extrapolate about I would imagine that there is like a few charismatic leaders and the rest of them are just dumb followers. Like there's probably one kobold with combed over blonde hair with orange, he has orange scales. He's like, listen, this is the best kobold city we got. You know, I built the
sounds
wall.
great.
No one's coming in. No one. We got the dragons here, the best dragons.
He's a great guy. Jeez.
And they're all like, yes! Yes!
I know.
He's
He
on
just
it.
stands on stage and plays music a half hour at a time, and everybody loves it.
Love that.
We're gonna go ahead and play YMCA.
I have the concepts of a plan.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so that's kind of what I extrapolate from Cobalt Society is that the leaders are the ones that are coherent, and everybody else is just kind of a follower.
Fair enough. As you got, Joe, I saw that you just joined us. Really nothing has happened. You guys are still traveling across the Blackrock Plain on Beetleback. The team has kind of floated the idea of like trying to sneak Galfast into the city as a scout when you guys get there. But you guys still have some distance to cover even on Beetleback. And as a reminder, the like dark goat centaurs seem to have a stick up their ass about the beetles staying in the plain for whatever reason. So, do with that what you will kind of thing. I want to like shine the spotlight on you for just a second. Anything in particular we'd find Reed or I guess Kythar, since you're playing them both, doing as you guys are like riding through here, discussing how to get into the Kobold City?
Kythar's just going on and on about, I really think that we can trick the kobolds. It's not going to be a big deal. We can do it. And Reed's over here like, okay, man, if you say so. Sorry, I'm still like submitting my final assignments.
No, you're cool. I just wanted to acknowledge that you were with us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm gonna be like, wait, Kythar, you actually believe this is a good idea, fool?
Oh yeah, and I can beat the shit out of whatever kobolds we need to convince them.
I'm gonna turn to the rest of the party and go, if Kythar believes in this, then we should think of another plan.
Okay. What do you mean? This is your plan. I win with it.
Red flag.
No, you're right, fool. No, it's you're right. No, totally, 100%. And I'm gonna look at the rest and be like, any other ideas? Or like much quieter now.
Reed, so you're finally coming around to reason? It took the dummy, to convince you otherwise?
Well, what's reason then, puto? Is reason going into the temple of a dark god and waking his ass up? Is that reason, fool?
I didn't wake him up.
You talked to him, puto. You're the one that's like, hey, fool, I'm gonna put this helmet on. What's up?
What choice did we have?
To leave at the door?
The door was collapsing anyway.
The door was fine until you putos put the helmet on. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Either way,
we're here now.
okay. Well, yeah. So what ideas you got, fucking brainiac? Why don't you talk to your puto ass god?
I can't do that right now. I don't know why. I've been trying.
So then, what do we do?
You're asking for divine intervention now because
No,
we planned.
I'm asking Reed, fool. I'm asking the real thing in front of me, not that puto in your head.
Well, we know now that there's the gnomes. The gnomes knew of another way out, right, Atesk?
The other way was that temple that we awoken the god in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of screwed us there.
I need the map, actually.
Yeah, we're up. Temple was here. Cobalt City you're heading for is here. Dwarf or
I just
gnome.
gotta-
Gnome just was generally meandering, from the campsite where you found him. He was just like generally meandering north. You don't really know
Yeah.
where.
And he was a deep gnome fool. He's gonna want to stay down here. It's not like he's going to the surface.
No, but he can take us to another way out. I don't know. Well,
The
he
first
could have.
way woke up a
Right,
god.
right. I understand what you're saying. Maybe somebody else knows a different way out.
Yeah, okay.
And the Minotaurs didn't seem like such a bad guy either.
That's because I had to talk him down, fool. They were about to cut our throats. They'd probably be wearing your bones. Your hip bones. They're so big.
Bounce a baby
Just
off those
like,
things.
Bounce a baby? Is that what you said? Okay, so I'm gonna be like, okay. I feel like we're talking in circles here, fool. I made a promise to myself to be nicer to you, Putos, and I gotta make sure I stick to that. So, I want to get everyone's input, and you can see he's like visibly cringing.
As he's like squint looking at both Kythar and Atesk at this
Atesk,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
And what do we know about this place up here? And I'm gonna point to the top left corner of the map.
That is where Galfast saw the, like initially on your drop, where he saw the stalactites that had like the windows, in them, and it looked like it was, like an occupied space of some kind. Those were like that was like the very first thing he ever saw. He was actually, before you found the map, he was navigating off of that, because from this side, from the tower you were at, it was like a landmark that you could navigate off of. But now that you guys have like jumped over this crevasse and you're like in a different valley, and you've like traveled away from it, it's like no longer in your line of sight. Mm-hmm. But that's what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are you just pointing at random objects on the map, fool, and saying, "What about this?"
I asked, what is this?
I'm gonna say, Reed, it's a good idea.
No. Let's hear your ideas.
Right,
Your
Simone?
idea-
yeah. You're right. Well, and I'm gonna you can clearly see me giving a wink. Like you see my goggles, right? Where you just see like my eyebrow come together and be like, right. You're right, fool. It is a good idea. What other ideas do we have?
Great. I'm glad we're talking to the experts about the Great Below down here.
Well, let's see. Let's look at the map.
As you guys are traveling along, after an hour or two of travel, you round enough of a corner that huge pinnacle that was the watering hole. It was like a small narrow mountain basically. You guys clear it, and now you can really see the terrain. Like to the left, it's been, however much plain and then a rock face, right? But to the right, there's now all these drop offs and things open up in a big way where you're on a comparatively high road here to kind of this valley that opens up underneath you, which looks like kind of like a mirrored version of up here. It's another one of these wild kind of plains of animals that are moving through here, with a couple of notable features. The backdrop is a bunch of broken, jagged spires of glassy obsidian, which are venting this crimson's not the right term, but this lightly colored mist, and kind of interspersed throughout them, there are all these they're just points from here, so it's hard to tell what they are, but they're some kind of structure, and there are just tons of flying somethings. You're way too far away to be able to tell, but there's a bunch of flying somethings over there, heavily occupied by whatever this thing is. That's the backdrop miles and miles away, where the valley dumps out at and goes back up, where all that rock spire is. Immediately to your right, off the edge here, there's a like much less significant drop that leads to another like ruined structure that is very like reminiscent of the temple that you guys awoke the god in, and you can see from here that temple like sits almost like right on the like shore of the lake, which is now visible for the first time in a bunch of hours of travel. So you've got this this valley, which is another lots of animals. You've got these ruins that are right on the lake, which it has this like almost like opalescent, like rainbow toned, like super dim light kind of like coming out of the top of it. Like you can tell there's no roof on it, right? It almost looks like somebody was having like a rave or something in it, however many miles away. And then the backdrop of this valley is these like mountains, these like obsidian mountains. They're like venting all this kind of like steam almost. But you can see that they kind of like wrap around. Like they're all dotted with these structures all on the other side, and these like flying creatures going back and forth. But like, looking immediately to your right, you'd see like these portions of it, and then as you come up, like I only put them on the map to here, but visibly like the terrain changes. Like you can see now that at the end of the Blackrock plain, there is this like super broken, jagged terrain, like the fucking House of Dragons Game of Thrones throne that has like all the fucking swords coming out of it. Like imagine that tenfold made out of obsidian, just fucking everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's the terrain pretty dramatically changes at the like edge of this to this glassy, like jagged structure that you guys can see. In the next hour or so, you're going to be like kind of like pulling up to the hour or two. You're going to be like pulling up to the edge of the Blackrock Plain, which is made of whatever these mountains are made of. Like the ones in the plain aren't venting. They're just regular rock. It's the mountainous region that's like heavily occupied by whatever the flying things are, is where like the stuff is really venting. But you can see like where the natural boundary is of the plane that you're traveling across that you're gonna hit. It's this like jagged fucking terrain, and you can see that the cliff on your left is like shallowing out. It's going from being 100 feet, 200 feet, kind of skimming itself down 150 feet, 100 feet, 80 feet, you know what I mean? And it's gonna, it kind of like comes to a point in this bed of obsidian shards, right? So this all becomes visible to you. I didn't want to interrupt too much, but I wanted to give you guys that next information beat, which is just the topography of what you're traveling through here. Your vision to the left towards the Cobalt City is still obscured by this cliff, but you can see that in the next couple of hours you're going to be to the point to where you could go past it. But Galfast, you're looking at this map and you're also realizing that you guys are just about to cross like this point, whatever this thing is. You guys are about to like pass by that. As you guys are just planning, talking, figuring out what you wanted to do, wanted to give you a little piece of information. As you guys like continue traveling, you hit this like dramatic turn where all of this unfolds and is visible to you guys as you continue your journey towards the Cobalt City. But it becomes apparent that like if you have to walk there, it's going to be exceedingly difficult if the terrain is like this the entire way, right? And in that moment, Galfast, you look up from the map. You're realizing that you're about to pass this, whatever this marker is on the map. You're starting to like piece together what some more of these icons mean. Anything in particular you're doing, specifically as the kind of like de facto survivalist map keeper? Oh, he's on the phone. Maybe we break a little early if he's on the phone. I know that Joe just got here, but You know, I know that we've been trying to break closer to 8 anyway, and it's 7:50.
Let's well, he's already asleep now. We've got to
Okay,
down a little
cool,
early.
solid.
So.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna be like, oh shit, and I'm gonna look, and I'm gonna kind of see what you were talking about, which is the terrain basically gets way more difficult outside the plains.
Right.
Right. So I'm assuming the idea is like if it was it's like it'd be like the forest, right? It'd be like a thick forest where it's like almost all difficult terrain, but of like jagged obsidian.
Yeah, I mean it's not even necessarily a forest. It's more like it's more like going bouldering. Where it's a lot of like up and downs, and some of these shards are a small tree's height, 30, 40 feet, in a single shard going up, but it's a lot of like smaller shards, and it almost looks like if a giant took a big steel drum, put a bunch of beer bottles in it with some rocks, shook it up, broke it all, and then just like dumped it over the terrain. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's more the vibe. There's less, like, your visibility is better. There's less verticality to it. But it's like every single step is going to be at a weird angle up against a sharp edge, and you know what I mean? It's like there's no platforms, there's no plateaus. Like it's all like waist high, chest high, shoulder high, knee high. Like wedges and triangles and like small pyramids of these like shards just sticking up, just all over the fucking place.
Okay. So my thought process then is that so I'm gonna look at that and I'll be like, if we have, my thought is like, oh fuck, if we're gonna have to climb that, like, Ates won't survive. And so I'm like, well, the fucking kobolds must have a way to get through this, an easier way. Maybe there's like a fucking kobold path or something.
We're looking for a tunnel system.
Either like a tunnel or some sort of path through all this. Like, who knows? There might be like enough separation between the big ass rocks, fool, that we can make our way through. Not with a fucking beetle, but
Yeah, I could look around. I might be able to sniff out a path.
Let's see what.
we have to get closer though, fool. I mean, we're hella far away. Still.
Wow, we are hella far. Hella.
Are you making fun of my culture, fool? I don't.
No, I just don't know what that means.
It means very.
I am hella hungry.
He's getting it now.
Well, Pythar is gonna do a nature check to see if he can find some kobold tracks.
He just poops himself.
It is
We're
going to
still
be
pretty far.
exceedingly difficult to do that from Beetleback moving at 20 miles an hour.
And plus, we're not even close.
Oh.
Really.
It
We gotta
sounds
get-
like something Kythar would do, to be fair.
Whenever we get to a natural stopping point where we want to look for this thing,
So
then Kythar.
yeah, so this is me. So me giving you all that information was me kind of like I try to let you guys lead our travel montages, right? Like you always ask me like how far away are we, and I ask you, I don't know, where would you stop, right? And so we're kind of like in that zone right now. You guys can straight up ride right up to the edge of where the terrain is, like too difficult to pass easily kind of thing. Start looking there. Like, but you've got, like, this map doesn't necessarily do it justice. You've got, 2 or 3 miles in the width here from the cliff on your left to the cliff on your right. And you're seeing this stuff, like, way down the line, kind of more in front of you than anywhere else, because you still have this cliff on the left here. Which at this point, you guys are like making good time. You guys are like moving through the fucking plain. But like, if you want to look for kobold tracks, is there anywhere in particular you're going to start that process? You know what I mean? It's like, I need just a touch more from you, where you guys are doing that from.
I guess the question is, how close do we want to get to like this glass structure or obsidian structure that we're like looking to weave in and out of? Do you guys want to get right to the base of it, or try to get right to the base of it, and then start moving around?
I'm gonna say I don't want to piss off the fucking group of sensors. What'd you call them? I'm gonna look over at Galfast.
Centaurs.
Centaurs. I don't want to fuck up the group our relationship with the Centaurs, so we should go as far as whatever the plains is, and then walk from there.
Yeah, but maybe we could ride up and down along the part where those two, the terrain changes, whatever that's called, and find the best path through, so that I don't get impaled, because I'm pretty fragile.
I can put you on my back, dude. You don't even have to do anything.
Look at it. It's my spot.
I don't. I said that as
Who the hell is that?
Kythar needs a friend too.
The Puto eats corpses, fool.
Yeah. He's fine. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Symbiotic.
That actually is how I would describe your guys' relationship with little guy right now.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wow. Someone's just gonna shake his head and be like, "Yeah, I just think, as far as the Beatles will take us, Puto, is what I say. And if the Beatles take us all the way up to that, the outcrop of boulders, then I'd say take us up to there."
That's fine. Let's do that. Galfast, what do you think about this place up here? Is that should we stick to the cliffs to stay out of sight?
I don't know that, David. I don't have any idea what that castle thing is. Can I see it from here? Glancing over, does it look like anything to me?
I'd love a perception check from you if you're actively looking for this structure as you guys are traveling through.
Yeah, let me. The first roll of the night.
Yeah, you guys spent the first hour figuring out what you were gonna do next.
Hey,
nice.
we're a smaller group, David. We're moving quick. All right. Keep up with us.
Galfast, as you guys are traveling through, despite your best efforts, you don't see anything that looks like a structure up there. But at a certain point, that you guys are traveling through, you see a small humanoid silhouette, kind of standing on the ledge, looking down out over the plain, kind of like the same thing that you guys are doing to your right, and then quickly disappearing from view.
A humanoid.
It's hard to tell because it's up on this ledge, and it is still. I know you've got superior dark vision or whatever, but it is still, not ideal conditions kind of thing. So yeah, it's a humanoid.
And then you see the fires of Gondor have been lit.
I know. All right, you guys continue on. I'm gonna wait here.
Gondor calls for aid.
I don't see any buildings over there, but we are being watched.
By what, fool?
A humanoid. I saw a figure.
I'm gonna look at. I'm like, you know how to control that thing? I'm gonna point towards your beetle.
Not a clue.
Yeah, you guys have just been muscling these things by the horn, basically,
Yeah.
in order to get them to go.
Only we knew somebody who might be able to figure it out.
And so, and be like, and why are you gonna stay back, fool?
No, it's a joke. They're gonna. We could be ambushed, and I don't want to be part of that. This is the joke.
But you're still going forward with us.
Yes.
Let him think about it.
So you'd rather be ambushed with us than without us?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Wow. When you say it like that, maybe I will stop.
I think we fine, fool. I mean, all they see is a herd of beetles, right? It's not like we're not in the area that these beetles, fucking puto-ass beetles, would be in anyway.
I mean, do 3 beetles, three beetle, 4? How many beetles do we have? 4. 5 beetles.
It's
5 beetles wandering together seems a little
I would say
regular.
A gaggle of beetles.
The herd size you guys have had have been in the closer to 20 or 30 range.
Maybe a gaggle of beetles draws attention.
Actually, a group. Back me up on this, Rowan. But a group of beetles is called a Cleopatra.
He's right. That's right.
Listen,
So-
don't cast a spell on me, fool.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, hopefully, right? They're looking at us. Maybe they just look like we're the senators in the herd. I don't know. Yeah, we'll be fine.
Senators.
I love that it changes every time, Aaron. I haven't missed that detail.
Just like Teska's a sorcerer or a wizard. Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
All right, cool.
All right. Works for
This
me.
is on you.
So I think we'll just continue on, David, until there's
I'm basically now. So you guys continue on. I just want to check in with Kythar real quick, who was possibly going to look for kobold tracks. Does he have anywhere in mind to do that, or are you going to wait till this beetle stops and just fucking get off and look down and see what's there?
Joe, you're Kythar.
Yeah.
He's in his thought processes.
No. Yeah. Kaita's gonna do that.
Okay, great. Then you guys continue on, and the beetles stop completely on their own accord. Like, I don't know, probably like 100 feet or so, like shy of where the terrain really starts to change in a major way. And they, they just they like all come to a stop, and they're just kind of like milling about on, like sniffing around, looking for dung, what have you. In front of you guys are these like growing progressively larger, from like softball size to, 2 or 3 feet to 4 or 5 feet to 6 or 7 feet, as these like shards of almost glass. Now that you're up close and personal with them, like these things look fucking dangerous, right? Like these things look super fucking sharp, and there's like in a square foot, in a 12 by 12 foot space, any given one, there are probably 7 or 8 different like edges that you could catch yourself on, right? Like some of them are no bigger than the toe of your boot is tall, but like it looks like somebody like broke the ground up here, or like I said, a giant shook up a bunch of this black glass stuff and just like dumped it here in like sand, so a bunch of it like caught and like stuck up at all these different odd angles and stuff. It's a little bit reminiscent of the like cliffs that you guys were on, but way more intense, right? But you can at this point, like it would be a very short scamper up and over the cliff, what's left of the cliff, right? It's just like 20 or 30 feet over onto the other side, where it kind of like just is a sheer drop that like comes just short of this like glassy zone. And let me see here. You guys can probably see kind of like up and past that is another quote unquote mountain range, right? So you can like see past, like if you guys are like on this map near, where this cliff edge ends, you can kind of like see up and past it to the like mountains that are like far off in the distance behind it. So you're starting to get some visibility back. You can see like the roof of the cavern. But like where this mark is on the map is still like relatively obscured by just like a little bit of elevation gain and a little bit of the of this like obsidian glass stuff. But like you can see this just like the very tips of this like general structure, like whatever these like rocks are that are kind of like broken up, like pushed upward. You can see just like the top. It's hard to tell. It's like Vegas, right? Like these things could be huge and you're looking at the top 300 feet, that's just the tip of this, or it could be very far away, or it could be significantly closer and significantly smaller. It's difficult to say. But you guys have traveled for like the better part of a travel day. You guys do not need to camp in this moment. But we started our session at about 2 p.m. You've been traveling for another couple of hours on Animal Back, so we're coming up on like 4 or 5, and these times are all relative to when you guys wake up because time doesn't exist down here. So you guys are at that spot in your time. Go ahead, Kythar, give me that, I think, survival or nature, whatever you're going to roll to look for kobold tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while he's looking, Simone's gonna have kind of a epiphany, and he's gonna be like, "Well, I kind of thought of another idea, fool. Like, do you remember all the hella monsters that we attracted when, the elevator fell and smashed into that castle?
The very monsters?
The big monsters, the worms, and the,
You said hella monsters.
Yeah.
Hella means very.
Do you want to put a thumper?
that I mean, maybe if we can get into the city and cause some sort of calamity like that, maybe it'll make it easier to infiltrate. I mean, we also need to worry about ourselves too, but
Well, it'd be a lot easier to look for worm tracks.
If the way out goes up and we get to the city and we just look up, couldn't we maybe see the way out? We came in through a big tunnel way up there. Maybe we'll see like a lift or something really obvious, that stands out in a super easy to figure out way that's very public.
from what I remember here, he said there's like a dragon walk or dragon path. It's like a sacred dragon path or something along those lines, from what I remember. And I would imagine that shit's not probably super, probably not super just publicly available, fool.
They're getting supplies into this city.
Reed is also. Hey, little guy, why don't you? You're pretty small. You can fit through some stuff pretty easy.
Yeah.
Why don't you see if you can see a way for us to navigate through this?
This looks dangerous.
Yeah, but I think you can fit through it.
Maybe. What if I can't? What if I get hurt?
You're kind of like a gecko, right? You can like suction to things.
I mean, I grab it with my fingers, and he's got 13 fingers on each hand, so he's just got these like huge fucking.
Can you crawl up the flat side and look up and over?
And you're referring to like the cliff on the ledge on the left?
Like I'm talking about like one of the obsidian pieces, like just because.
Oh, yeah.
the way I see it, there's like an obsidian wall between us and where we're wanting to go. Or at least
it's not a wall. It's definitely it's more of a field. Yeah, it's more of a field of boulders, but all the boulders are triangular and sharp as fuck.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see if he can like grab himself to a flat edge of one of those, or if if looking over the cliff will have the same function. Then yeah, I want that.
It's a boulder.
Cool.
We used to ride these babies for miles.
For miles, pioneers used to ride these babies for miles.
Any rock, Patrick?
Oh, I've been meaning to give you props, Aaron. You'd mentioned rewatching SpongeBob. I started it on a whim as like the last episode before bed kind of thing,
It holds up. Huh?
It holds up so well. It holds up so well. Yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny. Yeah, so I wanted to give you some props. I forgot last week. Yeah, so I mean, Joe, as you're trying to like have this conversation with little guy and like convince him to go, I probably need a diplomacy check for you because he does not want to do this.
Yeah, that's fine.
As far as Kythar's nature check goes, Kythar like starts kind of like sniffing around the edge of this here, and he does not identify any like distinctly humanoid tracks. Like everything that he finds like belongs to the different kinds of like crazy animals that you guys have seen like here in the valley. But what he probably does find is like a distinct lack of tracks. Like these beetles stopped, like I said, about 100 feet shy of all of this. There's like nothing out there. And as he's just like walking and crunching around, he feels this like poking sensation in his like feet, and he like like stops and like looks at the bottom of his shoe and sees there's just like one or two like errant chips of this stuff that have like fallen off and like tumbled away kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're like stones that sit on top, but they have like sliced clean through the sole of his boot, and are and have like given him small cuts on the bottom of his feet. And he's like not in that terrain yet. He just like has stepped on a couple of errant pieces as he's like walking around, and it's very obvious to him why there are no tracks that go up against this stuff.
Kythar is going to like retrace his exact steps out of there. No, that's not gonna work.
Maybe we could head closer, north, south, west towards where the castle is on the map. Maybe that's a way through.
You mean the castle that's being guarded by whatever you saw?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, let's go for it. What's the worst that could happen? We're already here.
Wait, we want to backtrack?
Well, it's not that far, or it's just an idea. I mean, is there any? Can I do a survival check to see if there is any reasonable, or even not reasonable way through this?
Are you talking like through the? Are you talking about like through the obsidian, or are you talking kind of like you're talking about? You guys are talking about like up and over to the west.
Well, I don't know if I'm close enough to know to the west yet. Maybe even just slightly to the west. I know that we have the jagged shit on the east. The cliff. How tall
northeast.
Is the cliff?
Yeah, the cliff is tapered down.
It's
literally
basically broken glass.
No, it's not through the broken glass. It's almost like it's like a plateau that's only like 30 or 40 feet, kind of like above it. So like the bottom of the what is now the cliff is lower in some places than like the tops of these like largest, most substantial like shards of obsidian. But like the cliff's only 30, 40 feet. Like you just have to like scamper up and look, but you absolutely could do that. You just can't see through 30 or 40 feet of stone.
And I try scampering up and looking using my grapple.
The grapple is 30 feet, 60 feet. How far is the grapple? 60?
I believe 60.
I think it's 60. So yeah, you can just use the grapple to get up there 100%. No rolls, no checks required. Anything in particular you're looking for? You're looking for a way through, right?
Yeah, like what in my opinion, what would be the best way through? Maybe there's no perfect way through, but what would be the best way through in my character's opinion?
Cool. You scamper up, using your magical grappling hook to the top of this, and a bunch of stuff comes into your view all at once. The first thing that you can see is off to the distance to the east is like one of those structures that are along the glass mountains. From here, you can tell that is like vaguely tower shaped. It is like reminiscent of the tower you saw on the other end of the Blackrock Plain that had the deep gnomes that were coming and going from it, the patrols that were moving around. But this one has these like vaguely humanoid creatures with wings for arms that are like flying around it. They're probably a couple miles out in that way. There's just a sea of this like broken glass stuff in front of you. But from here, you can see, looking in the direction that you are going, this stuff like goes on for like a few miles, long enough that there's like, unless you guys found something hard enough to not be cut by this, like it's too far for you. If a pebble is cutting through, Kythar's foot, there's too much of it to walk, but it doesn't go on forever. You know what I mean? And where it kind of ends is a big, like another one of the valleys, but in where it's got kind of like a mountainous region which goes in a big U shape, where you're in the open side of the U, like looking at it, right? So you can see this, the opposite of a peninsula. I don't know. And like inside of that is like you're looking at this Galfast, and it basically looks like a mount. If you cracked a mountain like an egg, right? Like this huge spire of stone that is like cracked open, and pockmarked in and around it, you see like a ton of, and like same thing with, and that is, that's this structure here. You can see it, and pockmarked in it, and all around the like ledges on the side. You can see probably from here. You can see 30 or 40, little tunnel holes that can't be more than 3 or 4 feet in diameter. And then immediately, like behind you in the direction you guys came from, is, another fortress. This one is not made of the black metal. This one is made of like traditional, regular ass, like stone. But you, like from here, can see that it's, it's only. Let me see here. How far can you ride in an hour? Probably like 5 miles. It's probably only 5 or so miles away. Too far to see if it's manned or what it's manned by. But like you are standing, once you scamper up to the top, you are standing in clear view of this thing. But like this is flat. This is flat, normal terrain. You can like hug this ridge. You're gonna have to travel pretty close to the gatehouse, but you can like hug this ridge to like get into where you see a bunch of those pockmarked holes, which are all here, and then you lose your visibility on the other side of the cracked mountain that's open, right? Because that blocks your visibility from the far end. But all up in this kind of like chunk, you can see. So let's see here. You've got the glass zone, right? Outside of the glass zone, this U shape is a plateau, right? That's your 30, 40 feet that goes up higher back the way you came. So this fortress is at a vantage point to where you guys are at, because it's still farther back where the cliff is higher, and it just kind of like slopes down to this point. And you can see, a couple of like obvious ways kind of through and around in this. Oh, I'm on the wrong deal. In this direction. But this plateau and this glass zone like butt up against each other. You know what I mean? This is your structure. This is your watchtower in the mountains with the flying creatures, and then your broken mountain and your pockmarked zone. So you see all of this. You magic grappling hook. You come up. You do one like sweep around. I don't ask for a perception check because you have greater dark vision, and you literally can't get a better vantage point than this for like miles. And so you're seeing kind of like all this. You're back down in a valley again, so all this kind of like that comes up around you until it hits that mountain to the north. Again, relative. So as Galfast comes to the top, scans around, looks at all of this. It only takes a moment because it's your grappling hook's magical. So what? How are you proceeding, my friend?
Yeah.
Hey, just kidding.
Hey, up there.
I don't know.
And actually, I guess this isn't 100% true. The glass zone does end at a certain point, but then there's just like more mountains. That's a continuation of all this stuff. So you could go. So you basically, the obvious choices are go to the foot of the watchtower of the flying things, travel the mountains around the eastern edge, or go back west towards the mystery fortress, skirt past that somehow, and, towards the pockmarks. But, like, this field of glass is, a few miles in between.
And the field of glass, I know you described it. About how high... okay, so does it look like the beetles this is part of their natural habitat and they could run through it? Like, is it like knee high to them?
It does not look like their natural habitat, but they are cow-sized beetles, and like depending on basically how hard their carapace is, like they could in theory crawl on this. You're not sure how heavy they are compared to how much weight this stuff will support. You know what I mean? Like there's still a lot of unknowns, but it does look like the beetles are capable of traversing this. But as far as their like natural terrain goes, that is obviously the Blackrock Plain, which you are standing, which you can see behind you. And your friends down below.
Okay, I'm trying to think if I want to gather any more information up here.
Well, here, tell you what.
Just trying to-
No, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Oh, just so I can tell from this map and what you've been describing. So towards the Kobold City that we're heading.
Right.
So I see on the map there's that egg-like structure that almost looks like a broken goblet or something, or like a shattered egg. Is the city, from looking at this and the map, is the city in the middle of that, or is it behind, like in the rocks, or I don't know.
I would say that is not obviously apparent, but this is definitely a dice situation on your interpretation of this. I don't have an appropriate skill. Do you have one to pitch for me? What do you got? What are you good at?
Well, I am trained in Underworld. I don't know if this is considered Underworld, but I'd either do Underworld, Survival, or I guess Underworld or Survival would be my two that would apply. I don't know if anything else that would. I guess Occultism, but I'm a
no. Yeah, I think interpreting a map somebody else made is an Underworld skill. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's like treasure map, like. Follow the markings, find the thing. I feel like that's definitely the skill set that you would use to interpret this.
Okay, so I'm trying to see if it's like so I see the tunnels, the small 4-foot tunnels. I'm thinking, the kobolds are, if we can make it through the glass fields, maybe we can use the tunnels, maybe we can't, maybe they're too small, but maybe that means we're close to the city. If not, maybe if the city's behind this egg-like structure, then I'm curious, then my character wouldn't know what those tunnels are for. So that's what's triggering this. So
cool.
I'll go ahead and roll.
Yeah, love that.
Nice. That's a good
Cool.
roll.
Yeah.
We don't know what the roll is.
You are Galfast is up there, kind of like looking at all of this, extrapolating all this information together, and as he's looking at the map, there is like a particular point where it becomes like you're looking at the map and like you're looking at the pen strokes on the map, and you can tell that the like icon for the city was drawn first before the icon of the broken egg, because you can see like the top of one of these spires like just cuts in and over the image, which implies to you that it's behind this structure, like this. And we're calling it a structure. It's a mountain. It's thousands of feet, right? And it's what obscures your vision. It like the tops of these points almost come up to the ceiling of the Great Below, where you can see it. There. But you can tell that it is behind. Judging from this whole space, like from here ish, you're like, you're not like these tunnels aren't like right outside the gates, so to speak, of the city, assuming it's exactly where this icon is. But you're like within that day's travel period where there's like, where it wouldn't be unreasonable to have ways to come and go from like, you know what I mean? Like it's not unheard of to travel a half a day's journey out, and a day's journey back. So, like you're within the sphere of influence of this city. You can tell that it's behind the Broken Mountain. And, if you guys left right now, at 4 p.m. kind of thing, you'd get there at, it'd be about a 12-hour march. You guys would have to push through quite a bit. And that's assuming you could walk in a straight line uninterrupted. But, like, in theory, you are distance-wise within a day's journey of this place.
As the crow flies.
As the crow flies. That's a perfect, yeah.
Yeah. As the humanoid beast with wings flies.
Which are only a couple of miles out to the east. Okay, so Galfast, I'm going to give you a minute to process. Galfast has climbed up to the top, is looking over this plateau. Kythar is probably like nursing a boo-boo on his foot from this like being cut. What are the rest of you guys doing down there? Specifically, my quiet boys, Atesk and Rowan. How do we find you guys?
Rowan is well. The whole time he was riding the beetles, he was like kind of like sitting there, talking to the beetle, telling how oh, you're such a good beetle, you're such a good boy. And then now once he got to the where everybody stopped, he's kind of seeing if he can see any remnants of like anything new nature wise that would be around, marveling at the all the mountains that we can now see, kind of just soaking in all the scenery.
Cool. I do really love that. I will say this, that from where you guys are at, along the venting mountains to the east, Rowan can see like a color and texture change. Like there's something like a grass or a moss that is growing on like much of the surface of those like mountains, to the east where all the flying stuff is. Not a ton in that way in the like field of broken glass, but I do want to call that out for his purposes specifically.
Atesk has been dutifully thinking about how he could help the party get where we need to go,
right.
And how he's able to support Galfast when he goes into the city. And a couple thoughts.
Dutifully.
So test dutifully, so dutifully. Test realized that he has a spell that lets him create an invisible eye that allows him to see 360 degrees that he can maintain for an indefinite amount of time.
That'd be helpful. Wow.
And then also Test is going to turn to the party as he gets here and just be like, hey, why don't I just like fly over to where we need to go, and then I can just translocate us all there, right? Can we kind of do the same thing that we were doing earlier?
Depends on how many spell slots you guys have. You, to date, have only been willing to do that once per day, and you did start today with that spell set. So I don't know how many of those you guys have, but
I'm all out of like level 5 spells. Like,
yeah, I would have enough.
I was the one mainly casting the spells last game. So.
But I'm not keeping track of your spells. I literally don't know if you guys
Yeah.
can do that. So Ateska's pitched this to the party. What the fuck are you guys saying to him?
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna be like, so wait, you can cast eye that can view in 360 degrees?
Oh yeah. It's called Scouting Eye. It's actually pretty cool. I just got it a little while ago.
Can
We just
you-
figured it out. I
Just
worked through
get
it.
stuff.
I worked through it. There's a problem, like imagine that you have this really complicated thing, and you can represent it as like a variable, and you could make an equation out of it, and then if you figured out how to solve it, then you can start casting.
Arthur's on the edge of his
Checked out.
fucking seat.
Reed and Kaithar are checked out.
Can you stop nerding it up and explain it to us in fucking puto terms?
Oh yeah. I can, if I really focus, I can see out of an eye like this invisible. You won't be able to see it, of course, but it'll be like this, floating
I can
little
see
thing. And okay, well maybe you can see it, Smo, but the rest of them, they don't even know what's going on. I'll just.
Oh wow, we're so oblivious.
What would I be doing while I do that? I guess my eyes would be closed. I'd just be sitting there.
It's
Can
like
you-
somebody turned on the orb of confusion. for
Yeah.
Kaithar.
He's just pooping his pants and the beetles are eating it.
No one's
And
turned
he's
that
just
orb
mad
off.
about it, just furious.
Fuck! I did it again.
Mom, bathroom.
Yeah, on a side note, it was like immensely satisfying for me as a DM to like hear Soto the player getting frustrated that we were talking so long, and like being like, I'm gonna shit, and he starts a countdown, and him getting to 1 and just picking up and being like, then Kaithar shits on the ground. Like, not a sentence I thought I'd be saying during tonight's session, but there we are, you know?
It happened.
You live and you learn.
Some big brain moves from this group. I will poop my pants.
But can you move the fucking eye, or you just cast it and it is what it is?
No, I just wander around with it. I mean, assuming none of the kobolds can see invisible, did they? I don't remember that they did the last time we fought them, but there's surely a magical kobold somewhere in there.
Surely.
Surely.
No,
You guys did fight. Tesk has fought a kobold spellcaster in his past.
Yeah, but I don't know if it can see magic. I don't think.
That's true. I'm just giving you the information.
Or see invisible, rather.
You said there's a magic kobold somewhere. It's like actual factual. You know there's a magic kobold somewhere. You fought one.
Actually,
There's a show called I'm Actually on Dropout. I highly suggest. They're not paying me to say that, but they're a great platform.
But they could.
They could, huh? Could be good. Could be fun. All right. So, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break. We're going to take a break. Mostly because my bladder is full. I mean, if you guys want to keep talking, you can keep talking, but we kind of have flown past the normal break time anyway. So it's 8:30-ish. We'll call it 8:40-ish. We'll come back.
sounds good.
Cool. I am live. What is up? What's the difference between these two? I don't even know.
Hi, live.
There's no difference. They're literally the same. Okay. Hi, I'm live. We can hear. We're good there. One of you guys say something.
Something.
Perfect.
Something.
Love that. Never gets old. I just want to make sure that all the audio is working correctly. So, Galfast, you are like coming down from being up top. I guess not necessarily. You're perched atop this
I'm
plateau. Okay, so you have come down, rejoined the party. My short-term memory is not great right now. Do you guys remember what the last thing was that you were talking about before break? It was just kind of like generally how to proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally how to proceed. I guess Atesk has been sitting on more of his spells.
Oh yeah,
I'm
so
probably-
you
yes,
walk.
I'm coming
yeah.
down.
So
I have
you
this
so,
complicated.
so as you're coming down, you hear Simone just kind of like yelling over people, like, "So wait, this whole time you had this like eye that you could have like fucking used to look at shit, and it's invisible." And like,
I'm gonna say, Simone. Everybody. We all have 2 eyes. It's a big deal. Whoop, big whoop. I got 4. Isn't that right, Banjo? Yeah. So there's a glass field. We might be able to make our way through with the beasts. If we stay in between, I'm gonna be like going on about my complicated plan. Feel free to interrupt me. Okay. So
No, keep going. No.
Yeah,
yeah,
we're here
okay.
for it.
Okay, so there's a field of glass, which I don't think the beetles could go through. It doesn't look like their natural habitat. So we're gonna have to climb up this ridge using the grappling hook, the way I see it, and then if we pass in between the shards of obsidian on the east side, and on the west side we have a plateau. There is a fortress on the plateau that we'd be dangerously close to. They may see us, but there is a gap there where we'd be just far enough they may not in the darkness, and we wouldn't be in the glass field where we would make it to the shattered plains up ahead.
What
And
if we use the lantern when we reach the plateau?
well, we can't move with the lantern.
the lantern,
Yeah, right?
the lantern deactivates the moment it is. It has to be set in place for 10 minutes and not moved. Then it turns on, and the instant it's moved again, it's off for 12 hours or whatever.
Yeah, so we passed dangerously close to the fortress.
Because your DM thought about that, Joe. Because your DM fucking thought about that when he homebrewed that shit for you.
Hey man, at least I'm keeping you honest about it.
That's true. That's true. I'm so sorry, Aaron. I didn't mean to cut you off.
And then when we reach the shattered plains, there seems to be burrow holes. I don't know if we'd fit in them, but we can make a good decision there. And then we'd be close enough to the city, which I think is behind. So we could deal with whatever is there. What do you guys think? What did you guys? I was up there for 5 minutes. What did you guys come up with?
Well, we came up with a test having an eye that would have saved you all that trouble.
Look, we already covered this. You have 2 eyes too, Reed.
No, when we get to the city.
Little guy comes up
to the city.
4.
No, not yet, not yet.
Okay.
Okay, well, great information there, Reed. So yeah, so
What
was that?
Oh, go ahead, Reed. Sorry.
I think the plateau might be our option. We fight whatever we have to up there, right, Kythar? Oh yeah, that's easy.
Kythar's pulling up his loincloth. There's a fresh pile behind him the beetles are starting to devour.
Where is it even coming from, fool? We haven't really been eating that much.
I feel like I need an updated. I need an updated picture of Kythar. Who I have in my head isn't the picture that he shared with us originally, so now I'm confused. I think he needs to
Let me
create a
see.
new picture.
Does he have a description here of Kythar?
Maybe. I'm sure
Or did he
I'm sure ChatGPT came up with one for him. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think the Valmina government should be giving us like a monthly check or something to have him travel with us.
You're good. I'm about to say you're gonna petition to be his fucking. What do they call that?
POA, power of attorney.
his like custodian, you know what I mean, like taking. You spend all his money for him, make sure he stays fed.
Okay. The next week when he's here,
Wow.
David, when we hit the Kobold City, can you have somebody like a ward of the state, like his caseworker? Can you have his caseworker show up?
She's like, I'm here to see the conditions of the client to make sure he's being fed.
I know, and you guys are like, how'd you get here? And they're just like, the arm of the government reaches far and wide.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally fine with it. Yeah. How funny would that be? First caseworker.
oh man, oh,
He
that's
would love
truly
that.
funny. That's truly funny.
He would also find that very funny, I'm sure. He would laugh
Yeah.
along with us. A lot of smiles.
A lot of smiles.
His desk wouldn't take the brunt of his happiness.
The brunt of his happiness.
That's very funny.
Funny dude.
The brunt of his happiness. Wow.
I was just thinking, like, man, I gotta work that into a story somewhere at some point. Like, that's such a good phrase. As a matter of fact, give me a second. The brunt.
That's a great line. That's a great line.
His happiness. Here, let me see. Where are we at? We got, because I can clip that too.
It was good. It took me a full 8 seconds for that to sink in.
141. Oh my god. Okay, great. I haven't made a clip in fucking months. That'll be a good one. Okay. Thank you, Anthony, for that. I really needed that myself.
I'm full of them.
Yeah, full of something. All right, let's. Back on track here. Reed has just been like, yeah, we can fight. Reed and Kaithar are like fortress fighting. Nah, you know what I mean? Like they're here for it. How's the rest of the party feel? How are you guys going to proceed? I mean, you guys are in this kind of like debating stage.
A desk?
I mean, if you want to walk, that's fine with me. I can save my spells for later.
What spells?
Well, teleporting. Like we were doing before, I'd go somewhere, and then I'd come back, and you'd all jump in the hole, and then I'd teleport back, and then I'd shake everybody out of the hole again.
I thought you were out of spells. What? How many do sorcerers get?
I get 5, 4.
And how many have you used?
I've used 1.
Okay. Well, I'm all scraped up from the climb. Okay.
You guys
And you're
watched
telling
him
me
blip
now?
up and down with the grappling.
Yeah.
And you're telling me now that we can just teleport? Is that right, Atesk?
Well, I mean, we did it earlier.
We rode on these beasts, right? We had to tame them. We had the
Well,
senators
we made it a vast
that we spoke to.
distance.
Senators.
But we save moments like these spells for moments like this where we really need them, and it's kind of a life or death situation, not just for
Gotcha.
crossing a plain with some cow beetles.
Cow
Okay.
beetles. Reed covers the ears of his cow beetles. Shh, don't let him talk to you like that, Bessie.
As it's
Why is there
eating
milk in your
Kaithar's-
mouth?
Eating Kaithar's shit.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
If you think we can make it, I could use my spells for something,
You know.
no.
More.
Look, I'm the survival expert, but I like your idea is much better. Okay, who needs old fashioned? I'm gonna crumble the map up. Who needs? Yeah, so the planes over there, like I was saying, maybe you could teleport to the top of one, and or maybe there's like a small plateau over there. What do you think, Adesk? Oh,
Yeah.
can't you send your eye up? Can't you send your eye up?
No, we don't. No, we use the eye when we're in the city. I don't know how many times I have to explain that. I could just fly for a little bit, get out there, and then I'll come back and get you guys.
Okay, we'll wait.
I guess I'll follow then, right, fool?
I mean, actually, we should do the same thing we did last time, right? Will can fly us. They can all wait here,
And then you teleport back.
and then I'll teleport back and pick them up.
Okay, that's our plan. And our plan is to, from my understanding, how this is going. So it's like the width of the, knife planes or the
Right.
obsidian planes,
Right.
right, is longer that exceeds out into mountains. Or sorry, but
The
length
east side,
ends-
the east side butts up against the mountains, right, and is longer than the width is, and it has a width of a few miles.
Yeah. So then, we have an hour of flying. We should be able to.
Yeah, 100%. You
Yeah,
can cover
how-
that much distance
yeah.
flying. Yeah.
How far can you teleport back, Ates? I can't remember how many.
I mean-
how much what's your distance there? Because I remember I was
It-
doing like 5 miles at a time, but I want to confirm that.
Yeah, it is only. It would be a mile at max rank, but I remember we had some different house rules or something, maybe.
Yeah, so it was a mile at rank. I gave you, I want to say double for free, and then I gave you, I want to say it was a DC of 20. It's like 26 or 28 was to meet whatever the max fly speed or distance was for Wilb, or no, it was for every mile after or something. I don't remember. I don't remember what I
Have
did.
an
for you.
Arcana check.
Oh, I remember. That's what it was. Yeah, it was Arcana check for every time it was past the double amount of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. So that's what it was. So I gave you 2 miles for free, and then I think it was DC 26 for 3 miles, DC 28 for 4 miles, DC 30 for 5 miles. And we
There you go.
went up like that.
Cool. I'm going to
What are you gonna do?
roll.
Great. So just to be clear, Wilb is basically picking you guys up, flying you as far as he'll go in an hour, and then you're trying to teleport back a task, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the
everybody's-
route that you guys are taking? Like, where specifically are you flying Wilb?
The idea for Wilb is to, and
Like,
if you need me to
like
do
use
an
like use the
acrobatic-
draw tool and draw me a flight path.
Okay, so the idea here is drawing.
Do you know how to change color, by the way?
I don't have an access to the drawing tool.
You don't access the drawing tool.
Nope.
Okay, well that's dumb. Let me see here.
But I don't know if you can see my.
Yeah, I can see your clicks.
The plan is to, not get close to this fortress.
Right.
So I'm actually gonna fly Wilb really low, and if I need to do any like acrobatics or checks or anything like that, let me know.
Okay, right.
And then the idea is to, if we can get past this field, at least try to cross this whole field, right? That's
Okay.
the idea.
Cool. So you're going to try and split the difference between the two structures that you've been told about by Galfast and go across the field.
Uh-huh. Exactly. I'm not trying to draw any like unwanted attention.
I do
flying
like the
thing.
detail of flying low.
Yeah.
I think that I don't need an acrobatics check. I think I just want a stealth check from you, because that's essentially what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to stay out of sight and fly low. So I think that's what I want from you.
Below the radar, you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here.
Good luck.
Okay.
Jeepers
That's the same-
Creepers.
I'm going to use a hero point to roll with advantage.
Sounds great.
Okay. I think I click on that and then keep higher. Is this a private roll, public?
This is a stealth or blind. Stealth are one of the few that are blind. Yeah.
Blind GM roll. Gotcha.
Because you always think you're doing a great job sneaking.
Yeah.
I can check too.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds great. I'm gonna roll a couple of contesteds here. Give me just a second. Those are probably That is very interesting. Okay, so you guys make your way flying low across these obsidian plains here, and this ridge to your left slopes upward, and before long you can see the fortress in question, right, that Galfas was telling you about. And you glance that way, and there doesn't appear to be any kind of reaction, retaliation. There are no flares that go up, nothing that comes at you, and you are going to be able to make it here more than likely. Let me take a look here. Yeah, because you've got enough of a head start. So you guys get to that midway point, kind of like over the glass. There's no reaction out of the fortress to the west. However, to the east, in the nearest tower in the mountains, you can see a group of these winged creatures are basically heading out away from the mountains, also over the field of glass, looking like they're on an intercept course with you guys. You guys are about a mile from your party at this point. They're also a couple miles away, so you can pretty reasonably get either back to your party or across to the other side before they're going to have a chance to get to you. You can just tell that based on your head start and the speed that they're traveling. But they do appear to have clocked you and are heading on an intercept course for you.
Can they? I'm gonna look at A-Test and be like, "Can you make us invisible, fool?"
I mean, not all of us at the same time. I think we might be in for a treat. Actually, I might be able to. I thought it was concentration. It's not concentration.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I could. Invisibility. It's not a
okay.
concentration spell. So, yeah, I could make us all invisible.
Well, do you want to hurry up then, fool?
Yeah, and I'll cast invisibility 3 times.
Love that. Boom, boom, boom. You guys all disappear from sight. You guys can hear distantly, one of the telltale trademarks of the Great Below is how quiet everything is. The movement of hooves and skittering of creatures has been the most noise and the loudest environment you guys have been in your days down here. And as you were leaving that behind you, over this largely flat space, you guys hear an audible squawk, 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 as these things are cawing or crowing at each other. One or two, and then they all fall silent, but are still heading towards where they last saw you. You know what I mean? But it'll be a while before they get there. So how long does your spell last for, Tyler?
10 minutes.
You guys are heading for the other... You guys are about a mile over this 3-mile stretch here. You've got 10 minutes of invisibility. Where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm going to... I'm going to do a perception check to see if there's a patch. Basically, I'm looking to hide behind one of the giant boulders, but in a way that's not going to hurt our feet.
Yeah, okay. I will take a perception check for that, for sure, as you're looking for that. Anything in particular Tesk is doing after he casts the invisibility spells?
Holding on.
Ugh.
Cool. Love that. So there are places where Wilb is probably too big to get tucked effectively behind, any of these pieces from the air, right? Like, he could tuck under it from, like, one side, but as soon as something is, like, circling, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to see him. There are a couple of places where maybe you guys could, get down, get under some stuff, like tuck yourselves under some of the, like, particularly sharply bent downward, instead of kind of pointing straight up in the air or at a, 20 to 30 degree angle. Some of these are way down, just like a few degrees off the ground. Like, you could maybe tuck under one of those. But as far as without getting cut, not my guy. This is going to hurt. And there's likely going to be blood wherever that happens as well. So, it's like, yes, there are places to hide. No safe, quote unquote, places to hide. The rest of as you guys are looking for this place, I'm just going to cut super quick to the rest of the party. As you guys are kind of like playing your normal waiting game, waiting for a test to show back up to jump in the hole. But you guys can see, and probably not see, but hear rather, this like squawking sound. And as you like turn to look, you see this like, flock of these bird people flying from the mountains to the east, and your friends are nowhere in sight.
So they're still pursuing them in their general direction then?
So what got your guys' attention was them calling to each other, which they didn't do until your friends are invisible. So you guys just kind of like turn around to hear the calling, see them like making their way from the east over the field of glass, but you don't see your party members.
How many?
Perception check. Galfast is one of the few people that I tend to not ask that question to because he's got good vision, but it's still pretty far away, and it's like counting. I don't know.
He's not really good at that.
I don't know. 8, 9?
It's kind of a lot.
Looks like a task's plan is,
Let's just see how it unfolds.
taking flight. Birds of a feather. And all that.
At this point, we can wait or try and distract him.
Fuck that. Let's wait.
Waiting it is.
He's got spells.
He's got spells.
He's got spells. Cutting back. He's got spells. He just burned 3 of them. He's hanging on for dear life. Simone has, found a couple of possible hiding spots for, himself and a Tesk, but it's going to hurt to get into him. Where you guys have 9 minutes of invisibility left.
Yeah, so I'm gonna continue on as far as I can go until there's maybe 3 minutes left.
Okay.
And then the idea is to find one of those locations that is big enough for Wilb, but as soon as we get down there, I'm going to unsummon him. So then Atesk and I can successfully hide. So not in one of the really tight ones, because you said the
Yeah. No,
the really
I
tight
hear what you're
one.
saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want an area where Wilb isn't going to impale himself on one of the large obvious spikes, where there's still smaller spikes that you guys are going to have to kind of drop in between, but you want to try to you don't want him to get fucking stuck as he's
because basically I get fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. So then that's a great plan. That'll leave you with 6 or 7 minutes of flight. What's Wilb's fly speed?
His fly speed is 40 feet. So 40, 80, 120?
Yes.
120 every round.
So, yes, I mean, he can. So he's moving at a substantial click. I think that what I want to do, just a little bit of math here, real quick. How many feet are in a mile? 2,000?
5,280.
5,280. Yeah, so I mean, Wilb can probably cover a mile in that distance, but I don't think he can cover the full 2. So as you're looking for this spot, Simone, you are within half a mile of the edge of the of the glass, and it like the obvious choice pops into your mind. Like, you can continue with your plan as planned, or like will lose his invisibility just a minute or two before you guys reach the end, where you'll have like much safer terrain to land on, but you will be like vulnerable and visible for a minute or so.
But hopefully that means that they're still, because they're, how far are they out? They're like a mile out.
They were because this whole thing is longer than it is wide, and they were also a couple miles out from you as they started. So they've closed a mile in towards like the center of this field, as you've like gone a mile. Like they've closed a mile from this from this location, to this location kind of thing, as you guys have gone from here to there. And so it's like they're just kind of heading towards the center of this field where they last saw you guys. You've put a mile between you and that space, and they're still probably about a mile from there as of now. So your relative distance hasn't changed that much.
If that's the case, I probably would take the risk on being visible, for whatever quarter of a mile or whatever that is, so that we can then get to a safer spot, because there's a chance, like you said, as soon as you start bleeding, it's these animals can pick up scents, they can do all that stuff.
Right.
So my idea is to try to be as safe as possible, but also take that risk, I guess.
Cool. I do like that. I think what I am gonna do here is roll them one more perception check with disadvantage, as they won't be able to, it's like it would basically have to be dumb luck kind of thing, that somebody was like looking in that direction precisely in the minute that you came to, kind of thing. So so that's what I'm gonna do. I can fucking do that. I'm just gonna do it old school. I'm just gonna roll twice.
And then Galfast had an idea, and this time that may help now that they've been getting chased for a moment.
Yeah, go for it.
So while you're doing that, I think Galfast would have talked to the professor.
Okay.
About taking a little bit of black powder and maybe like attaching it like in a little pouch to the front of a arrow. And I think as a distraction, Galfast may in a moment take out his bow with a little pouch of black powder and just shoot an arrow maybe east towards their little tower that I saw them at.
Okay.
Just to, like, as a distraction, like a noise distraction.
Cool, man. Because you can't see them anyway. So Galfast starts to worry about his party. Is this something you're pursuing? Because I think I'd like to pursue this end of it first, if we could.
This being my
this being
idea.
your idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would shoot a bow towards their. Not enough black powder to make like a deafening noise, but like a, assuming that
Arthur's
they're
got
being
skills.
pursued.
Yeah, Arthur's trained in all that. So you could like describe how loud you. I do want to know what words does Galfast say to Arthur as he's trying to be like not deafening? Like, what does that look like coming out of Galfast?
I'm gonna say, you remember when you shot your gun when we first got here at the top of the plateau, and it attracted everything? Not that. Less than that. I want small noise, not big noise. If that was a 10, I want a 2.
Oh, okay.
Why does Reed look so concerned?
You're muted.
Reed, you're muted.
Say that last part again.
Reed, you've been stuck mute. You've been struck mute.
I said, if originally that was a 10, I want a 2 on the noise scale.
From what? Wait, hang on. I think I missed something here. From what?
pilot or
you mean from what?
no, the professor is going to create a noise to help distract those winged creatures.
And if a gunshot is a 10 on the noise scale, bam, gunshot.
Uh-huh.
I want it to be around a 1 or a 2, so a pop, like when if, for 4th of July you get those little pop crackers. You throw
Yeah.
a little white. I want around that. I don't want gunshot.
You know,
I don't
4th
want
of July.
I don't want Porterville at midnight. I want
Porterville on a Saturday.
Oh, funny. Cool.
that,
I love that. I think is weaponsmithing still a skill? I don't think it is. I think they pulled it.
It'd be crafting. I think it's all rolled into crafting.
Oh, it's all
now.
crafting now.
And then and if you want to even get like specific, like sometimes they have like lore weaponsmithing, which you use as like a crafting. It can be higher than your crafting, so then you can use that to roll for things like this.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna say. It is a DC 20 crafting check to get this precisely to those modifications, and for every point under is 1 point higher on the noise scale. So, you know what I mean? It's like a DC 20. If you roll a 19, he wanted a 2, he got a 3. You know what I mean? If you roll a 15, you know what I mean? He wanted a 2, he got a 6, right? Like, so whoever's rolling for Arthur can roll me a DC 20 crafting check real quick here.
well, what is this crafting at though? I don't
It's a plus 14. So he's basically got to clear a 6 for perfection, you know.
And I'm pretty sure he said he was going to use a hero point.
And
Is it a blind roll?
it is no.
We would all hear.
We'd know and hear when it went off.
Oh, duh. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, 100% expertly crafted. You know, it is like Arthur spent a bunch of years of his life like being a soldier, like, you know, working with artillery specifically. You know what I mean? Like, he's got this. This is his roundhouse. But you know, doing it like on the fly quickly, I feel like with that like time pressure element, I want to put a roll behind it. So Arthur like puts to like modifies one of your arrows, Galfas. You know, you knock it. Are you trying to land it like right at the base of that tower, or is close enough? Close enough.
Close enough. I'm more of trying to make it reasonable where they, assuming I'm trying to make a reasonable distraction. So I don't think the winged people would think, oh, the people we were chasing are back at our tower. Just like more of like in that direction, east, away.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I got you. In that case, I'm not going to ask for any further rolls because at that point it's really just like shooting an arrow at a mountain, which you're more than capable of doing. And so he fires this thing off. You guys on being carried by Wilb are, like Simone, you've like made this decision to like roll the dice. Are you going to say anything to a test? Like, you're having to, in theory, communicate with the test and being like, yo, how much longer we got left on this spell? You know what I mean? Like, where do we, as we cut back to Atesk and Simone riding for their fucking lives, like, what is happening between you guys?
I would look back at HS and be like, I'm gonna do something fucking risky, fool.
Should I hold on or let go?
We're gonna as soon as we get past the obsidian, there's some turbulence hits. I'm like,
The light comes on.
Please fasten seatbelts.
You need to sit down, sweetie.
The bathroom is closed.
He's like, there are 2 side doors and 2 doors in the back.
As he's making the joke, he plummets because he's not flapping his wings anymore.
Committed to the bit.
I know, right?
Oh, funny.
And he's like, as soon as we pass this this field, it looks like there's a fucking better area to hide in. I'm gonna unsub and wield, and you need to throw your ass against a rock so that these putos don't follow us.
Okay, I can do that. I think I can do that.
All right, here we go, fool.
And as you guys are going down, Atesk, your internal clock is counting down. I've got 10 seconds left on the spell. You like feel your like magical grip like loosening on it, and that like mana energy returning to its like natural state out in the universe, and you're just like clinging onto it by a thread. And as it's like slipping away, you can like, it's not an all at once thing. You can see yourselves like kind of like starting to like phase back into existence here. And as you're like caught up in this internal process, 4, 3, you guys hear come out from behind you on the right hand side, just this pop, followed by and 2, 1, you guys like pop back into vision, and as all this is going on, I think it is more than reasonable to say that you guys like kind of like dive over that last piece of obsidian, hit the ground, tumbling. Let's get because you guys are like hitting here at speed. Let's get a reflex save from my folks here. Optional if you want to roll one for Will, but I guess you got to share anyway. So because I kind of figure you can unsummon him in the moment here.
I can, yeah.
Cool. Oh man, awesome. Tesk?
Yep. Uh-oh.
Are you gonna use a hero point? Oh.
I will absolutely be using a hero point.
Yeah, the Great Below has been the hero point dissolver, man. Like, it has really been chewing them.
Not much better.
Chewing them up.
You gotta use them.
Yeah, so, but I think that Simone succeeded by a substantial, because I was thinking like DC, 24 or 26 or something, and I think that because Simone exceeded by more than you failed it by, I'm going to leave it up to the two of you. Like, how do you like plummet at speed, knowing that a Tesk is like clumsily losing his footing in some way? Like, you guys described this to me. How are you landing here?
I got an idea, but I want to hear. Do you have an idea, A-Test?
My only thought was like, as we hit the ground, like a Tesk doesn't keep his, seating well, and like just starts popping up, just like immediately pops up. I don't know.
What do you mean by pops up?
Like, when you hit the ground, you like bounce off the ground.
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
Go up, because I totally lost my grip.
So then when that happens, I'm gonna like grab your arm and like hold on to you, and then as Will like takes like the brunt of the shock of like the drop, and then as soon as it's like, it's like that one shock, I'm gonna unsummon him, and then I'm gonna like swing you in front of me as we like go to like take take cover.
Tesk will stand there in shock for just a moment, like, holy shit, I didn't just, go tumbling into a spire and get impaled and die. And then remember that he's supposed to go and scramble to find some place to hide as soon as we landed, and he'll go do that.
Yeah, it feels your collar get yanked by Simone as he's fucking pulling you back by cover.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
And then I'll look back immediately to see what that noise was.
And there's nothing visible. There's no indication of what the sound was. It's. But what you do see are like more than half of the like flock of these bird folk like turn around and begin to like make their way like back towards the sound, still leaving like 3 or 4 of them almost like circling in place here over the glass. You also see like a bunch of, and this is probably the entire party, sees a bunch more 10, 20 more of these like flying creatures like come up out of all these like little like corners and crevices of the mountains, and like some come from like the neighboring towers on each side and begin to like fly in towards, and there's this swarm of a flock that is starting to form in this like kind of like swirling vortex around the watchtower as 10, 20, 30, of these creatures like start coming in, adding their bodies to it, and like, form this like swirling vortex. There are still a few errant birds, making their way around your field of glass here. but the two of you guys have tucked up, and I am going to need fresh stealth rolls from you guys as you find your hiding spots and tuck up. And then the rest of, unless of course you're going to do something else, the rest of the party who's back on the other side, this pop happens. You guys are having this real-time reaction as well as all these birds fucking come out of the woodwork essentially and start like swarming one of these towers. What are you guys doing?
Maybe we should be very, very still until they get back here.
Yeah.
Their vision's based on movement.
Is there anything nearby that we could stand under to? Is there any jutting obsidian or rocks that we could get under?
Yeah, I mean, like, you guys could kind of, like, run into the obsidian field and, like, find some cover there. But, like, the cliff would put, you could put your back up against the cliff that you just climbed, and you'd be pointed straight at, these guys, or your left side would be totally exposed to these guys, and it's effectively a plain. I mean, you still have your giant beetles that are making their way around. That's probably the obvious cover.
Hide in.
Hide in the herd of the beetles. Have Kythar do his thing.
I'm gonna approach mine, and then hide underneath it.
That
like
is
calmly, and then hide underneath it.
That is phenomenal. I will need stealth checks out of you guys as well, unless you guys want to do Galfast group stealth thing, which you're welcome to do. But everybody who's actively hiding needs to give me a stealth roll effectively.
Who has the lowest stealth among us? That's the only person that needs to roll.
Arthur historically has been that person.
Yeah.
But
said he was
going to roll with.
But I think
hero point.
I think I will let you guys use the second lowest if you want. I'll let you use the lowest real player who's actually in this party. Like I'm not gonna shoot you in the foot of the player that we're not even playing with anymore. You know what I mean? So who's got the second lowest?
I have 12.
Reed?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
right.
Reed, why don't you roll it with
that's significantly better.
Yeah.
Which was
I'm going to burn a hero point for that one.
Or potential.
Those are blind rolls.
Did I only roll one?
You only rolled one, so you got to roll a second one anyway.
There you go.
All right, sick. Cool. So as you guys all tuck up, this like vortex is going crazy. There are a few of them, making their way over this glass field, but you guys have all back in the Blackrock plain, have all tucked yourself under your beetles and are trying to keep them on top of you as much as possible, while the two of you who have already made your way to the other side are tucked up against, there was a, I have this shape drawn out here, there was all of this stuff here. There, you guys are basically tucked up against the opposite corner of this fucking plateau. So, and as you guys are up there, you guys have, those burrow holes, a bunch of them to your left, never really sure, to the west. And then, you've got your back up against this shelf. There's the terrain's, rocky but pretty open between you and the broken mountain, the cracked egg, whatever we want to call that thing. What are my magic guys doing on the other side right now? Are we just waiting for things to pass? Are we proceeding with our plan? You know what I mean?
The idea is to get get it off our tail.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I mean this. Like I said, there's nobody actively on your tail. They are still searching the fields. But
yeah.
But go ahead.
I'm gonna wait till I hear them say, "Huh, must have been the wind."
Love that. Cool. A test you as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. I think if you
Just
guys
hanging
are,
out waiting.
if you guys are tucking up that long, then we are going to have a chance for somebody to see something here.
Must have been the wind.
What are we gonna roll, and who is more likely to be? I think those guys are. camouflage. You know what? Okay. I need odds or evens from anybody.
Even.
Okay, great.
Oh fuck.
I'll fall on that sword.
Great. And then we're going to do this. Probably less, though, because they're doing crazy stuff now.
Oh no.
And
What have you done?
then we're going to do that. Oh.
Shit.
Oh, I didn't actually add the die to that. Can you guys see that number out of curiosity?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Interesting. Cool. Oh, that's going to be so close. What were you guys at? Interesting. You guys see the like must have been the wind kind of like policy happening, but only because the creatures like started like the few that were left started like spiraling outward from the last spot that they saw you, in like a super wide, in like wider and wider circles to try to find you, and you like lose sight of one as it passes over the plateau to the west, and you guys hear the sound of something like slicing through the air right distantly, and you look up and you see like a javelin like flying over your head, just like off into the distance. It like has such a huge wide arc that just like loses all of its momentum and just like comes plummeting to the ground, like hundreds of feet down the way. But immediately after, you hear a squawk, as there's another one of these like air cutting sounds, and this like this thing fucking like comes like somersaults, plummets, and lands, probably just like 10 or 15 feet away from you guys. And it's got a huge, like, rickety ass looking, like homemade javelin, like sticking center mass out of the middle of its body. These like dark eyes, beaked creature, combination of scales and feathers, but like the feet are like lizard feet, and you know what I mean? Like the whole thing just looks like wrong. It's got, you can't see what the posture is, but its neck is like bent in such a way that like when these things walk around, they're gonna walk around like hunched over,
Yeah.
and
It's like a
and this thing is like kind of like sputtering and twitching and essentially like dying, 10 or 15 feet away from you guys with this huge fucking javelin sticking out of it. And it's like gurgling on its own fucking stuff. But you guys see it like turn its head, and it like makes eye contact with you guys, and it just like continues fucking gurgling. Any action you guys want to take?
I landed at the right time, puto.
Prestidigitation.
That could have been us. That could have been us, man.
You made us invisible and I got us down, fool. For sure that's the kobolds, right?
I have to think. I mean, what else could it be?
We gotta go get the rest of them. But
It
first,
could be one of the Centurions.
before you go though, we should. Do you see any more of them in the sky? Don't put
I'll
your
squint.
eyeball. Don't you have an eyeball, fool? What are you doing?
For the city. It's for the city.
Oh man.
I'll
wizards are-
squint real hard.
Okay.
Went real hard.
No, that's I bumped something and all my audio got wonky, but I think it is all reset now. Properties. I need a something out of someone.
Something.
Perfect. Okay. So let me see here. So with this creature being like skewered, you guys can see the rest of the scouts, retreat back to the like eastern mountain line, and there's still this kind of like swirling vortex of creatures. But as you guys are kind of like waiting this out, over the next like 15, 20, 25 minutes, they start like peeling off a few at a time and like heading back into different points. And there's definitely, even at its lowest point, there's like more activity now in the mountains than there were when you guys started. But all the activity does appear to be like over near those watchtowers over in the mountains to the east. Plus, of course, wherever this, javelin came from that skewered this thing. But like your glass fields are now clear, for lack of better purpose.
Gotcha.
Right.
I'm gonna be like, it's our time, fool, go. And I'm gonna like shove him out from our hiding spot.
There you go.
Cool. You just use a teleport spell or something, right? Or are you flying back?
I thought we were gonna continue to get out of this.
We're already out of this.
You guys, yeah.
We made it past the field.
Yeah, you guys are past
sorry.
the field, tucked
Yeah.
up on the other side of this ridge or this plateau, right? What are you doing?
Then
Tusk?
I'll teleport back to the group then.
Okay, great. A Tusk emerges, and you, at first, give me a perception check just for fun.
Anybody?
No, a Tusk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, a test.
Let's see, blind check.
You everybody's you teleport, and you're on the opposite side. Like everybody's under and hanging on one side of their beetles, so that they're not visible from the east, but they're completely visible from the west. And you teleport in on the west side and just see your entire party just scrunched up under around, hanging off beetles, fucking, whatever. You guys, hear this as teleport, magic is finalizes near you, and all glance over your shoulder and see a test standing there.
Oh,
Hey, let's go.
What took you so long?
Well, we got attacked by, or we're being chased by.
Attacked?
No, not attacked, just chased. And then we heard a little popping noise. And
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
we crash. Oh, that was you guys.
Yeah.
And then
Quick
we
thinking.
we crash. And now we're on the other side. So where's your little hole thing? You all can jump in. I can teleport back.
You want my hole?
Yeah, your pocket
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
interdimensional.
Yeah, portal thing. Okay. Yeah. I'll put it out.
Yeah, I'll give
Alright,
it
get
up.
in.
I'll give it up.
Just
That was easy.
just 1d6. I want to see what it opens to first. Because you guys aren't super rushed. I'm not worried about forcing the issue here, but out of funsies, I always So it doesn't come out correctly the first time. Is 5 paradise? Is that what 5 was?
That's a great question. Let me scroll through my notes. I forget which page it's on.
I think 5 is the jungle.
5 is space.
5 is space. Excuse me. 4 I think is paradise is the jungle. Yeah. So you open this. It's on the right one.
Vacuum.
You reset it a couple of times.
One of the cows gets sucked through.
And then you're gonna burn another teleport spell going back. Correct, to task?
Yep.
Cool. All that happens super fast. Boom, 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 boom. You guys come back. A test throws the hole. Slaps the hole on the side of the canyon. Here, you guys all come tumbling out of it. You guys now have kind of these burrow holes to the west, to your left. You have a relatively open plain. This is more of a traditional, like, rocky terrain. There are, boulders, some large and small, but this is like super walkable. This is not a challenge, to get to the base of the mountain. And then, again, this is a thousands of feet tall mountain. That's this like huge thing in the middle. But like around the rim to the left, you can see that there's like a bunch of these like pockmarked tunnel holes. But in theory, at this point, there's no more glass to deal with. So I'm going to move your designated party marker. Where would you guys like to go from here? How are you going to proceed, my friends?
I'm gonna look back and be like, all right, fool. I haven't really thought past this point.
Well, we're here now. Let's take a look around.
And I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting pretty sleepy. We're gonna need to put up the. We should find a place to sleep for the night.
I'm gonna look around at the empty plain.
Hey, we have the lantern.
I know, fool. I'm just looking for natural. Isn't this shit you should be doing, Ranger?
No, please.
Looking for natural things, huh?
I can see you looking around. You're a student in this department, and I fully support you.
I'm not even trained, fool, in this, so I'm
Wow.
I just kind of look at you guys, and that's what I do, right? I look
Yeah,
at other people do it.
He's got
and
the
then
street smarts.
Got a lot of streets here.
Not a lot of streets here. I need that on a t-shirt. It just says the great below on the front, and then on the back it says not a lot of streets here. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, all right, fool, then find us a spot then.
Oh, you want me to? That's crazy. You were just looking around.
Well, because if you're gonna insult,
If you're
my
asking me to.
ability, fool, then
No.
that's
If you're
different.
asking me to, I'd love
I'm not
to.
asking. I'm not asking. Kythar, can you take a look and find?
The guy who just pooped his pants?
Sure.
Guy can't even find a bathroom.
I think the difference is that everywhere's the bathroom, so he's always finding
Yeah.
it.
Guess where he's gonna?
That's
Everywhere's a
my
place to sleep.
secret.
You know what? If it's the perfect place to poop, it's probably the perfect place to sleep.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah, you-
Kythar,
Interesting
take.
logic.
You may have heard the phrase "don't shit where you eat," but Kythar heard "do
yeah,
shit
yeah.
where you sleep."
Shit now, actually.
I would really like
Uh,
if Kythar also did a check, and I'll do one as well.
yeah, cool.
I would really like.
That's nature, my guys.
Pythar is gonna burn a
Nature
hero
or
point for
survival?
that, too.
Yeah, I take either, honestly.
Okay, I'm gonna do.
Does he have a higher survival?
Whoa.
They're the same. Is that public or blind?
Knowledges are usually blind, but you're looking for a campsite that everybody will eventually see, so I don't really care. It's fine.
Ooh. Neither of those were great, but at least it wasn't a nat one.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, you see Kythar, he's like trying to look for a place, but he keeps like limping along from where the like rocks have stabbed him in the foot, and it's like obviously very uncomfortable for him to like climb over this boulderous terrain to like look for anything. Meanwhile, Galfast, you found like one of those perfect rocks that like has been like broken away, so there's like a natural shelf over the top, and you know what I mean. You found a nice little like
Yeah.
fucking spot to set up in.
I'm gonna slap Kythar on the back and say, "Go on, Kythar, tell Simone what you found." I think that's you, Joe.
That's you, Joe.
Joe, that's you. Don't worry, that's not good. Joe. I didn't find anything.
You didn't what?
Nothing. And he poops instead.
Listen, Kythar, I really need to understand this, fool. Like, we haven't really been eating this much, and you're.
Beetles are gone. man.
You're gonna see him like hide a bottle that says. He's gonna hide a bottle that has 3 X's on it.
Like, those are buffet style poops right there, my friend.
I'm gonna say, "Wait, my food's gone. My pack. Where'd my food go?"
My rations.
He's-
It's You just wake up and there's just like ration wrappers all over him. He's fucking.
Wait, my rations.
He got into my pack with the alcohol in it.
Did you
And it
eat
looks
what
like
you
marmots did it. They like
He could have opened it fine, but he chewed
nod through the.
That's so funny.
Oh my
Right next to the
fucking
zipper.
god!
You double dotted it. That was a bridge too far.
Oh my
It's like when you
god!
see a bear trying to get into a bear can. I think I found the spot.
Overlap.
I think I found a spot. Oh my god!
Yeah, if you Simone, if you want to, I know you really trusted Kaithar there, but if you step this way,
I know. Kaithar has led you to a small flat that has a pile of shit in the dead center of it.
He's just like pointing at it like unintelligible grunts.
he's really proud.
I'm like,
And you look from that to Galfast, like the camera pans to Galfast, fucking mansion of a boulder ready to be set up.
So anyway, I was saying.
I know, right? And I'd be like, good job, buddy. I think we're gonna go over here now.
And over here, no, wrong.
Hands in your lap. Hands in your
Quiet
lap.
hands.
Would you do it for a scoop stack?
Oh man, this is why you show up every week.
This is why I know, because once somebody else runs your character, man. I love that we're not the group that's
He's dead.
I'm gonna stab myself in the heart to prove a point, kind of. You know what I mean? It's it's just they shit themselves or have hey guys, or whatever.
And to be fair, this isn't the dumbest thing that Kaithar's done.
I know, probably more in character for Kaithar than a lot of the PCs.
In fact, we're using established lore.
Dating all the way back to the meeting before the Lord. It's like you gotta wash the shit out the crack. That's what you gotta do before you meet a Lord.
All right, well,
So I'm gonna follow Galfast into the actual sleeping spot.
campsite.
Oh my god. This feels like a natural breaking point in the session. Before you guys wrap up your day, take a long rest, assign watches, yada yada yada. Is there anything that you guys would want to, do with whatever time you had, or anything you want me to know before you're just we camp for the night? You know what I mean? That's a question for you.
I may spend time teaching Kaithar some survival skills,
Okay,
perhaps.
I do like that. I tend to you can absolutely train each other on skills for sure. I tend to play, but that takes time, so I tend to play those if you want to be I'm going to spend all my camping time teaching somebody something, and you do that for a week's worth of days kind of thing. We'll do a roll and we'll see if we can't just improve their skill at the end of the week. So if you want to do that 100%, just remind me, and I'll make a note in my notes that you're doing that tonight. Because Stover was making a gun, but usually you have to take a full day to do that, and he was doing it an hour at a time at night. So I was just kind of tallying those together, kind of thing. So, all that's fair game, and part of why I asked this question. So great, you're teaching Kaithar survival skills.
After the dream that Reed had, he's going to try and meditate and make a connection with Iomade again. Just last ditch effort.
Yeah, I super get that. I want to do something to handle that, but I'm gonna just give me a second. I may start the next session with that instead of ending this one with it, so I can think about that for a minute. But it's good to know. So you're gonna attempt to make which you really haven't necessarily done. You did it the first night or two, and then Reed's he thought he's given up on Iomade and thrown in the towel on his faith, but he's been I can't reach her here. He said that a couple of times.
Right.
So Reed's gonna make an attempt to Iomade, right? Uh, anybody else or anybody else's characters or neutral characters or and no is okay. I just want to make sure I'm creating that space if you want it.
No, I think Simone would just be, like communing with Will and just like meditating
Yeah.
before going to bed.
Rowan would just be kind of just exploring the immediate surroundings for any type of new wildlife still.
Yeah. Give me either a nature or survival check, Rowan. I actually want that from you now, I think.
Okay. Oops.
Oh my god, I love that. While you guys are like setting up this, this tent in what is essentially the edge of this field, right? Like, Rowan catches like a familiar kind of like mildewy scent as it like wafts across the air, and is drawn to one of the nearby burrow holes, and as because there's not a lot in the way of like like flora or fauna necessarily here, but as he like bends down to look inside the entrance of one of these like burrow holes, he sees a bunch of like shelf style like fungus and mushrooms that are like growing along the like left and right ridges of the of this tunnel, and it like does snake to a point to where it's out of sight. Do you think Rowan has like a curious enough spirit that he'd kind of like crawl into a like mushroom tunnel to investigate it, or do you think he'd be content kind of like sitting on the outside and seeing and exploring this plant life from here? You're still like within eye shot of your party. You're not very far wandered off at all.
He would just kind of like lay there on the edge of the burrow, just peering inside, just looking at everything, kind of, his feet up, kicking his feet, laying there, just enjoying, almost like looking into a pond in a sense.
Yeah, and the longer you look, the more you see. There's like a little roly-poly-esque creature you see, that you thought was a stone at one point, perfectly camouflaged until it starts to move. There's like a couple of pores in the wall that are like no bigger than a dime, and you see like a millipede crawl out of one of these and like make its way to like the underside of one of these like fungus shelves, and like you watch it like gnaw on a little bit of that, and it's like a little microbiome like happening in this tunnel here. Yeah, but you guys are getting to places where there might be stuff like that for reasons. So so Rowan finds this fungus tunnel. Anybody in the party from the campsite can see him just like kind of like laid with his face to the same spot, basically, that the same wall face that Tesk and Simone kind of like put their backs up to when they were hiding from the crazy vulture things, and he's like got his like nose inches away from the opening of one of these things, chin in his hands, just like looking into this tunnel, while Galfast is working with Kythar and showing him that Moss always points towards civilization, and what anything else that anybody else is doing specifically, kind of in whatever downtime you have.
Yeah, I just want to continue to look into the things that I got from our earlier.
Is there any specific item that you're looking at, trying to like decipher?
Yeah, the sigil ring and stone, the sigil items specifically.
The sigil items. So, yeah, you got you got a couple of stones, and there was a ring as well.
There was, yeah.
There was a ring as well, yeah. And you remind me what information you got about those so far. Do you have something in your notes there?
I have next to nothing about them other than the specific call out. I think it's the Blackrock stone. That's similar to the one that caused Anthony to bleed or Simone to bleed out of every orifice that he has.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes. Good times. Good times. Good times.
And
good
more.
times.
So that's probably the one I'm most interested in because it seems like it could be the most useful
Well, we
potentially.
kind of know that it stores a spell.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me an Arcana check, and I'll take that now at the back end of the session. I think that's a good time. It's a good place for that.
Okay, that doesn't matter. There we go.
Cool, man. Ateska's had some time with these at this point, and he's been like, you know, I'd say like skeptical or maybe cautious with them because of seeing like what they've done to Simone, which has like slowed the process of his learning on them. But as you are like turning these magical items in over your hand, one of them is just a mundane stone now. Like you yourself disenchanted it. And like broke the magic inside of it with your own, but the other ones are still live, and you can tell that there are like from the emanations coming off of them that there are different spells stored in these two stones. I will say that on that roll and the amount of time that you've had with these items, you are immediately able to like these items almost like flinch away from you. They like you can tell that they specifically do not want to be used by you. Like they aren't like talking, sentient items, but they have a will of their own and they do not want to serve you. But you can brute force it 100%. Like, you're strong enough to pull spells out of these things. I will say that have I given you any of the spells these things are capable of yet?
No.
Okay.
Yes, ass bleed.
Well, yeah. We've seen one of the spells.
There are two different sigil stones. Is there one that you're more interested in? There was the one that you pulled off the first couple, and then there was the one that you pulled off the gal who I guess, and you disenchanted one of them. So you have one enchanted stone of each sigil. One is the first one that you saw that matched like the harpy nest and like everything that you saw above ground. The other one was from the priestess who was in charge of the fortress below ground. Is there one of those stones you're more interested in? They have different sigils on them.
The one that we got first, so the one that we got above ground.
The one you got above ground. Great. That. Let's see here. Give me 2 shakes here. 2 shakes.
We're all about shakes here.
You are able to detect that blindness is one of the spells that is stored in this stone, and that it is also one of the spells that is poised to trigger if someone other than its intended tries to use it.
Okay. So darkness is that. I get the sense that darkness is the spell that would trigger if I tried to use it.
You get a sense that blindness is one of the spells that is in this fucking and I like put it in I like linked it in chat straight up. And the DC
Cool.
the DC is relative to yours DC. That's arbitrary that I pulled off of just one of the drows just so that I could link the spell super quick. But like that is the that is a spell. You would use it as if it were one of your spells with all of your DCs and modifiers and blah 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 blah. But you can also tell in the same way that like Simone bled, that like if you mishandle this in some way, or try to just like blindly use it, pardon the pun, that this spell will trigger like on you.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you mean.
Cool.
Cool.
So it's both basically.
Yep.
Sweet. That's great. Unraveling the mysteries piece by piece. At 10 o'clock on the nose, I think I am going to call us for this week. You guys can figure out if you want to do watches, and we can go through all that like ticky-tacky, nitty-gritty, stuff at the start of the next session if we feel like that's relevant. I honestly, like, with the lantern that you guys have, like, it's just much less likely that something is going to happen to you guys in the night. There's just like less chance for random encounters, so you guys are like just naturally going to make it through more nights. So, like there's a chance that it won't necessarily matter anyway. But then we'll start at a fresh day tomorrow. Everybody's spells and HP reset on the opposite side of a bunch of these obstacles, within a day's travel of the city. And you guys can figure out how the fuck you want to proceed, get in, do whatever, but you guys aren't at the gates quite yet, so to speak, but you're pretty fucking close. So, after days in the great below, there is a metaphorical light at the end of the tunnel. So,
Yay.
Oh my god. We just have to get to there, and it's guarded by demons.
Little tiny
And that's the easy part.
dragon
Yeah, I
worshiping
know.
demons.
little tiny dragon worshiping demons. All right, guys. Well, you guys are the best. Thanks for being here. Thanks for playing, and I will catch y'all next week unless something comes up.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right.
Later.
Later.
Good
Have
night.
a good night.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. Sharfear, thanks for coming by, hanging out, being here. Let's see here. I have one viewer, so it's either you, or it's me, or it's my buddy Tyler. I'm not sure who. Oh, 79 followers. I must not have the alert set up correctly, because it looks like somebody followed and I missed it. Well, apologies to you, especially if you are you, Sharfear. And we play on Wednesdays, so we'll be back. We try to start at 6:30. We almost never start before 7. I really should change the stream time to 7, because that's when we actually start a lot of the time. But we're here, we're having a good time. Thanks for having a good time with us. We'll catch you later.